All right, we're now live. So, welcome, Max. I met Max at the beginning of August in Miami. You were a bikini fitness.
Bikini World Champion. hmm
Yes. Um,
Last year.
oh, and now you're an MMA, or you're training to become an MMA fighter, and you have
hmm
a huge mission in life. And that was the thing, like, you were talking with other people about your passion near where I was sitting, and I remember just leaning over and was like, we need to talk.
I remember you just said something about energy,
Yeah.
the energy healing, and I'm just what? Yeah.
Um, so tell us how you got on this path of kind of the biohacking,
hmm
and then becoming an MMA trainer.
hmm so I'm originally from Sweden and born and raised there. I was there till I was about 26, and I was always into like the whole training and being healthy life, but I didn't know anything back then. So I wasn't necessarily healthy at all. I just did everything that, society tells you to do. You do a lot of cardio because you want to lose weight, or you stop eating carbs, the typical stuff. So I've done it all. I've tried it all. And always trained a lot. I played tennis when I was young, and then I got into weightlifting and realized that, that the weightlifting, that's what excited me the most. So I also danced for a while, and I was singing and everything, but I kind of like cut everything that out and just started lifting weights. And I've been doing art my whole life. I'm a photographer, videographer, done everything from like painting, drawing, like cutting constellations, like anything art related. So that was always my passion. And then the health was my passion. So when I was a kid, I always tell people this. I was like, "What was your dream when you were a child? You probably had a dream job. Everyone had something." And I said, "My dream was to be free. That was my dream job." And that it kind of switched a little bit. I'm like, "What do I need to do to be free?" And I remember I was very little. I was like, "A flight attendant. That must be that must be it, because if I fly everywhere, like I can always go wherever I want." I remember I was very little. And then obviously that changed, but it's always sticked with me. Like I don't really care what I do or how I do it. I want to help people, and I want to be free when I do it, because I believe as a creative, as an artist, and anyone who does art of any kind probably understand when I'm saying you can't just work whenever. You are creative, and sometimes you're not. So if I would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and feel super creative, I will just go up and do something. And that's how I wanted my job to be. Because if no matter what it is, like let's say that I was even I sold clothes, like we just make up anything. Imagine if I could sell clothes only when I felt creative. It would probably make everything better, but it doesn't realistically work that way, right? So I was like, okay, I need to create art. So I built out a life for myself where I created content for people, majorly products, because then I didn't need to be somewhere at a certain time. So my clients would send me products, and I would kind of work whenever I felt creative. And that's probably why I got so good at it. And was very well known in the supplement and fitness industry for my work, because they're like, wow, this is so different from everybody else. I'm like, yeah, because I work whenever it comes to me. And I kind of want to do the same with the health. So when I was young, I had allergies. I didn't know it back then, but I always had crazy back pain ever since I was a small child. Scoliosis, I found out like when I was very old, but I was never like my mom and dad was never very much about doctors, which I'm very thankful for. So it was more like, oh, you have an ear infection, let's shove some garlic in there. Or, oh, you have a cold, let's just drink some tea? So I never really knew, what was wrong with me. And I think that is a good thing. Fast forward, my sister and my mom, especially, but my mom has been sick for a very long time. And it got to the point where she didn't really necessarily believe in the medical system, but it got to the point where she's like, okay, I'm going to go there because I'm helpless. So she kind of got trapped in this whole doctor world, going to doctors, and nobody could help her. And they would even tell her. So she had, I think they call it EMF, It's like allergy to electricity and radiation, basically. And I mean, like, I'm even wearing an EMF band. Like, I know about these things, and they would tell her that she was insane because this condition isn't allowed to exist. And, it just got worse and worse. And she ended up finding a group of people that had the same problem. And they just talk to each other. So she has all of these like sheets, and she has something in her car, and, like all the things. And like no computer, no phone, no regular, no energy saving light bulbs, like only the old school, like candles, stuff like that. And I'm just looking at this. I'm like, no, this is not life. And she had like allergies and all kinds of stuff also. And I think it really got bad for her because of all the allergy meds they had pumped into her in her whole life, because she was always taking allergy meds. And I'm sure so many people do that. I never did. I just kind of pushed through. I had dust allergy. So luckily I could breathe with my mouth. I didn't have shit in my throat. So I just learned to live breathing through my mouth. And also, like, little side note there, I always thought meditation was really stupid when I was young. Like, knowing now, I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't even do it. Even if I wanted to, I could never even have done it because there was no air coming in up here. And then I started scuba diving and I was like, this is easy, because I'm already used to not breathing with my nose anyway. So always pain in my back, and I also hurt my. I'm an adventurous slash clumpy person, I could say. So I like doing adventurous things. Hurt myself a lot. I've injured pretty much everything, I think. And my worst thing was I had just come over here from Sweden, and I started. I didn't have any crazy like gut issues when I lived in Sweden, but I came over here and I started getting a lot of problems with my stomach. Uh, and at this point, I was like crazy into the health already because I was like, I studied this whole training thing, and I'm like, I want to be a bodybuilder. So I got really crazy with it. So I thought I ate perfect. Like I was eating chicken and rice and oatmeal and blueberries, like that. Super simple. Knowing what I know today, like all of these things can be just as unhealthy as fast food if you don't know what you're looking for. So I got really sick. And I also back then I had really bad sugar cravings, which I wouldn't eat bad all the time because I'm like, I want to be a bodybuilder. I have to stay on track. So I planned out eating days, and then I would eat until I just passed out. And coming over here, I had never had a donut in my life when I came over here. I was like, I gotta try these American things, right? Got hooked on the donuts like that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And then I got this sugar addiction, right? But I would still only do it on certain days. And because of, actually, I'm not going to say it's because of my body type. I think I had a nutrient absorption problem. That's what I think it was, because I would eat so much food and nothing would stick to me. So when I came from Sweden, I wasn't super skinny. I was like average, whatever. Came over here, I almost looked anorectic. And people thought I wasn't eating, and I was eating so much food, like you wouldn't even believe how much I was eating. And nothing would stick. I would just go to the bathroom like a freaking dog. And now I'm like, wow, so probably my body just didn't want to take anything up. And then people thinking, oh, you are so lucky. You can eat whatever you want. I'm like, I am so sick. It got to the point where, like, I actually thought I had a tumor in my stomach or something because I had a hard ball on my stomach that would just never go away. And this is, hmm, I don't remember. This is many years ago. I'm gonna say I kind of left the medical system completely, maybe 6, 7 years ago. Before that, I actually had health insurance and stuff, and so I would go to the doctor, but obviously everything is to a specialist, and then it doesn't cover, and I don't know how much money I paid. And I've always been anti-medication. It's been my whole life. So when I go to the doctor, I want to have an answer. That's really why I'm going, right? And I would ask them, what is wrong with my stomach? And nobody knew. So it was just like antibiotics, antibiotics. And I said, well, I'm not going to take antibiotics. And other thing, like just, everything is connected. So not only would I get that, and then I would start getting yeast infections. And then I would start, it would just like keep spiraling into everything. And then they try to give you one medication for each problem. And I'm like, no, where is it coming from, you know? And I had already studied, nutrition and macros and training and injury. So I was very good already at like understanding how to manage injuries. Not knowing back then that you can actually reverse everything. That I didn't know. I just thought that now you live with this and you learn how to live with it.
Mm.
That's just life. So one thing I had was, and I'm very careful about talking medical terms when I do what I do because we're not allowed to, but I had a lot of pain in my joints, a lot of joint discomfort, itis,
Mm.
basically, which means inflammation. And if you go to the doctor, they say, okay, now you have this. You have had a lot of injuries. One, like I have a half fake arm, for example. So now you just have that. Either you take medication for it or whatever, you figure something out to deal with it, right? So I was doing peptides and I was starting to really understand how to find clean food. So I started finding some farms to buy food from and like really rabbit hole into all this stuff. And this is right before the pandemic happened. So I think because I had so much gut problems, and I think that those gut problems definitely came at the right time because when the pandemic started, I was completely just like, I don't believe in any of this.
Mm.
Like, no. So again, I started eating like farm food and I was using peptides, and I wasn't really having a lot of pain often. It would just come every now and then. But this is just life now. This is what I do. I can't really have cheat meals anymore. If I have a cheat meal, I'm miserable. Um, then I mean, I learned about the food technology I work with today only in January this year. So up till then, I had been living like a crazy hippie, basically. I had gotten to the point where I had swapped out, and I mean, I'm still doing more now, but I had swapped to like, I am thinking about what kind of water I'm drinking. I am not using shampoo anymore. I wash my hair with natural beef tallow soap. I don't use skincare products. And, it was getting to that. And I was like, I'm only buying bamboo toilet paper and I have bamboo toothbrush. And, I switched out everything. So I was, feeling pretty decent, still getting a lot of discomfort after training sometimes. And as a bodybuilder, I was never really able to train to failure. And if people don't know what that is when you train basically until your muscle gives up, not until you want to stop. You just go until your body just is done. And that's the best way to grow more muscle than you would be able to do otherwise. So as a bodybuilder, that's what we do. And I couldn't until I found this guy who worked with these electrostimulation pads. So he would train me, and actually, when my muscle or when the pain would kick in, the pad is helping the muscle keep working a little bit longer. So I was like, oh my God, this is the answers to everything. Like I manifested this, and here's the solution. But again, the pain was still there, though. It wasn't gone. I just figured out another way to deal with it. So I was like, oh, this is great. Um, then I competed. And obviously back to the pandemic. That's pandemic. This is when I really started talking to people because before 2020, I didn't really care. I'm doing my thing. I'm helping my family. I'm helping my clients, whoever work with me. But I don't really care to be on social media. I don't really care to be on camera. I don't care for any of that. Then the pandemic happens, and I was like, wait a second, what is going on? And I started just talking a little bit online about it because I was like, I feel like I need to share some information here. So I did, and that's when this whole spiral started with like getting banned everywhere. I got my social media taken down, and now I don't even care anymore. It doesn't matter what they do. But I was like, and that's actually my first post ever that got taken down was about sea moss. And I didn't even know the power of these things. So I started buying sea moss because I watched this video where remember the band TLC,
Mhm.
this girl band. So the girl Lisa that was in a flight accident, her and her doctor died at the same time right after she went on TV and said they cured her mental disorder with CMOS.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. So I went and bought CMOS and did a bunch of research and I made a post about it and it was immediately deleted. And I was like, eh? That's strange. And then that's like how it all kind of started. And I was like, oh my God, wait, you can't talk about anything that actually works.
Yep.
That's what it is. Anything that works, you can't talk about. So then last year I competed, won my world title, still like having discomfort. So I had 3 rehab people that entire year. So I would train and then I would go for one guy that does, I don't even know what to call it. He's kind of like a chiropractor, but he does a bunch of different stuff because I ended up getting a herniated disc also from, I guess, from just overtraining. And he helped me. I was completely free from the herniated disc in 5 days. And people think I'm lying. And I said, he being the chiropractor he is, also a little bit of an energy healer, me being an energy healer in myself, and also knowing how to heal myself with my mind, boom, 5 days gone. And then I'm hearing all these other patients he had that was having surgery for the same thing I had. And people say, oh, you probably didn't even have one. I'm like, you can ask him. He can confirm it was bad, you know? So I would go to him, then I would have deep tissue sessions every week, and then I would have a special like stretch person also. Every week, 3 people. I mean, there was a fortune just in like maintaining all of this stuff I was doing. And I said, oh my God. But I mean, it worked. I made it through. I won the crown. Everything is great. And then I think it was January. I'm sitting, at this point, I'm very big in I've been meditating years and like I do my manifestations. And at that point, I would say I feel like I'm very good at manifesting. I manifest and usually something just kind of lands in my lap. A solution to something or a person I need to talk to. Like I'm pretty sure I manifested you, and that's why we talked, or the opposite, you know? So I'm
Manifest.
sitting. Mhm. So I'm sitting there and my friend Joel that I work with, I'd known of him for 4 years. Never seen his content because I don't go online and search for things. I just kind of go online and post and then I leave. I try to not sit there too much. And he's shadow banned just like me, so I've never really seen what he does. I've seen something brief, but this podcast pops up in front of me. And for some reason I feel like I have to look at it, right? And the first thing I hear is just us above, so below, he says. And I said, hmm? Wait a second. Okay, that this has a meaning to me. And then he starts talking and he said, I want to eradicate childhood malnutrition from the planet. And I was like, wait, but I've been wanting to do something for kids because I have friends that work in different types of fields in child trafficking. And I've always been so curious about it. And I was always like, but where is my place in it? What do I do? Like some people go on these secret missions and some people, it's like so much to it. I was like, where's my place in this? Like, do I want to go on these missions? Like, is that what I want to do? And then I just see this and I was like, wait, eradicate childhood malnutrition. And then I was like, but that's a good thing, you know? So I hit him up and I said, what is this? And I also hear, okay, we work with Ace Manon from the aloe vera plant. I'm like, I love aloe vera plant. Like I use it every day. Okay. So we start talking and I said, you know what? It just hits my heart, right? We have a conversation. I'm like, yes, this. And I think I fully knew when I was talking to my coach. I just started my other prep to compete this year, which I didn't do. And I think I knew already that I wasn't going to compete because I called her to have my little talk about, we're starting the prep, what's our goal this year. And I told her, no, that wasn't what it was. When I was on the call with Joel, I had goosebumps the entire time. And when I was on the call with her about competing, I felt nothing.
Mm.
It was just like nothing. And I was like, huh, because I trust my goosebumps over everything. They
Yeah,
always tell me things. And
for
I was like, okay. And I told, we're talking, and I said, I don't know. I said, I'm going to start my prep, but I am actually not 100% sure I'm going to compete. She's like, what? And I said, well, so there's this thing that I'm going to start doing for children. And I learned also that they had a trip every year to go meet kids in orphanages. And I'm just like, I'm going on that trip. Like I barely even like started doing anything in this company yet, but so you win trips basically. They have trips all through the year, and I'm just like I'm going on this trip. There's just no that question. And the trip was supposed to be right before the show, so I was like, if I'm going on this trip, I can't compete. There's no way. So either way, I start my prep, but I'm like not committing to it at all. Like I'm kind of doing it. I was like, no, I'm not feeling it. And then at some point, a little further, I tell her, that I'm not gonna compete because I am gonna do this. And she even told me when I told her on the phone about the mission, she said, I had the chills. She said, I understand why you're not going to do this. And I also started the product or the food technology for myself, right in the beginning there, January, February, and not really thinking it's going to do anything specific for me. I'm like, I'm already managing things so well. I'm already eating so clean. Like, I'm kind of like managing everything and not even thinking about, the allergies I have and the horrible hair I have and like the stomach that is acting out sometimes. Like I don't even think about this because you've had it for so long. I don't even think about, I didn't even remember I didn't used to be able to open jars with my hands.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't even remember like until the day I could do it suddenly and I'm like, wait a second, I haven't done I always used to pop them with spoons and stuff like this or knives or something, but you just get used to it. So I start the product and about 14 days in, I realized that I didn't know that I ovulated the week prior. And that has never happened to me. I didn't swell up. I had no cramps. And my ovulation used to be worse than my period. I'm sure a lot of women have that. Like there would be no doubt that that was going on. And I'm just thinking and looking at my app, I was like, I feel like that should be soon. And I look, oh, that was last week. Okay, that's insane. So that was the first part. And then it took about 2 months for me to fully, I felt stronger in the gym for sure. And just more energy in general. I wasn't drinking as much coffee because I used to have like at least 2 coffees a day before. And some days I didn't even drink a coffee, which is crazy. And 2 months in, I'm in the gym and I think I did like hanging leg raises or something. And typically I'll do them until my hands give up. And I'm this like stubborn person. I will not use straps or gloves or anything. I'm like, I'm liking my hands. So I'll do them until my hands just does this. And I just did it until my abs were done. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? And then it just kind of, it was like every time now I went to the gym and trained chest one time, same bad wrists, so I can't go very heavy. And I just keep increasing the weight. And I text Joel and I was like, I'm scared of myself. I'm like, I am doing more weight than I'm supposed to. And I'm like, I don't know if I dare to do more. I'm not supposed to do it. He's like, yeah, you should probably increase slowly. Your body isn't used to this, but yeah, you're starting to realize, huh? I'm like, yeah. And like me now, do you know I have about maybe one coffee a day? No, so I'm sorry, one coffee a week, maybe
Oh,
if even that. And I mean, like it's like everything. And my allergies they went away pretty early, because so I lived in Miami first, dust allergy 24/7. Then I moved to Vegas. It got a little bit better. So it wouldn't be like all day long. So sometimes I would be okay during the day, but then when was gonna sleep, it would just shut, like no air in the nose. And I went to sleep and I'm like, oh. It was like all these little things. And then fast forward coming here to train MMA, I'm like, I took out my hair extensions. My so I was like, I have never had thick hair in my life. It used to be so thin that my ears would stick out through the hair. That's why I've had hair extensions like 8 years. And I've been doing no eyelashes too. I went and got them done today because I'm doing like a functional training program right now. So I came here to this famous MMA gym, Jackson Wink MMA. Same here. I asked the universe for signs every day, and you and me were actually on the phone when I was driving here.
yep.
So my manifestation was, okay, I'm fully committed to saving all the children. And clearly, I am already a world champion in this federation and I love it, but it's kind of it's a somewhat smaller federation still because it's not traditional bodybuilding because I don't take a bunch of drugs. And if you're going to get huge in bodybuilding, that's kind of the route you got to go. And I don't want to do that. And I was like, okay, I need to do something else where I get a bigger platform because I am an athlete. I'm not going to stop being an athlete like that. You just do that. So I was like, I need something else. And Instagram is banning me all the time. So how am I supposed to reach people? So I'm just saying, okay, I just manifesting. I'm like, I have a huge platform to speak on. And the day after, I'm on the phone with Joel, I think, or if he came to visit or something. And I said to him, I'm like, hey, Joel, like, I feel so good now. I don't have any discomfort in my body. It's like I kind of want to try something different. Maybe I should try like try a sport. Maybe I should try to take, some fighting classes. He's like, huh. Funny you say that, he said, because remember you came to visit the gym once and the owner saw you and they said, who's she? She needs to fight. So they literally offered me to come and move into the gym. And I'm like, oh my God, overnight manifestation. I'm like, what else is this than a sign? Because I'm like, if I fight, I don't even have to be the best in the world at this. There are not that many female MMA fighters, if you think about it. And I'm like, even like I will get a big platform regardless, even in my journey to get there. And I'm in the gym with the best in the world. I mean, like Holly Holmes trains here, and like I don't know all the fighter names yet, but it's I was like, wow, this okay, this is just meant to be. And also I think it's a fantastic skill to have because I'm all about survival. And I have my own water distiller system. Just went and got rid of my modern 2023 computer car and I got a 2006 survival truck.
Oh,
And
wow.
I like a diesel truck. And, I have all the things we need. I know how to survive without food, or I know how to dry food if we need to do that, or, I know how to shoot a gun and, all that. Like, we need to have these skills.
Yeah.
I know how to start a fire. I mean, how many people know that? And these are things we need to know, and like, hopefully, we never need to use them. But these are the things we're meant to do. And the more I do all these things, I'm realizing I'm like, it makes so much sense that we're sick because we're not eating properly. Like you're supposed to eat, and then you take your fruit peel and you throw it out, and then a new fruit grows up. Like that's how it's supposed to work. But what do we do? We're eating like stuff that doesn't even come from anywhere near where we come from. I'm from Sweden, so I've been talking a lot to some friends in Sweden that we want to try to get more food technology over there. So it's become very common for all the grocery stores in Sweden to buy their food from the Netherlands. I'm like, but we have so many farms there. Like, why would we need to do that? Because it's cheaper. And same here. Like, why do we get so much stuff from China? Like, we can do there's so much farmland, or it was until they come and start taking that over and just do harmful things to it. So my purpose, I was like, I love showing people how to train. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I want every person out there to know. So then if you make the choice to not to eat McDonald's, like that's on you. But I want you to have accessible the information to how to actually live like a real human. And biohacking, and I mean like that, this shouldn't even have to have a word. Biohacking is just living like a human. Like that's what it is.
Like,
All we do is just use herbs. And I mean, I also think there is some sort of human-made biohacking, such as like I love grounding. Real grounding should be go outside, right? But some people can't, so you can buy a grounding mat. Okay, I guess that's like a way of biohacking for people, or like my family live, there's no sun there ever. They can't do sun gazing. So, maybe you do need to utilize a little bit of human-made resources for certain things, but you have to like look into things. Where is it made? How do they make it? Did they make it with good intention?
mhm.
Like, I never knew that when I was young. Energies. Like, if you buy a product and somebody made it with bad intention, you have that energy now, and you might not even know it. And I'm like, since I moved in here, I've never saged so much in my life. All the time. Also, Albuquerque is very interesting when it comes. So I'm in Albuquerque at this gym now. Very interesting energetically. Like it's an energy vortex here. A lot of these big companies open here, like Netflix and all of them, which obviously they know why. It's very cool. Like a lot of these whatever you want to call them, powers that I've had has just enhanced like crazy since I came here. Um, I don't know if you want to get into more, but I used
What?
to think I was a total weirdo when I was young because I used to get these it almost feels like a vortex of energy just like spiraling in my stomach. And I remember the first time, no, maybe not the first time, but I remember one time when it happened extremely strong. I got a panic attack because I didn't know what it was. And I freaked out and I just froze up and my hands froze and I couldn't move. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And it started radiating out of my face and everything. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And now, I've learned to like, because it happens a lot. And especially in certain like scenarios when I do certain things, it starts, I just need to control it. And that's why I've been starting to do a lot of energy healing now, And I think like I do it on my friend one day and he was like, holy shit, I've never felt anybody with such strong current before. Like this is insane. I'm like, you don't, it's just like on my fingers. It's crazy. And I was like, wow. Like, and then I was talking to my sister the other day. And I know my sister is special. I've always known she had some powers, but she was telling me some things the other day, and she's like, yeah, like everyone tells me I'm crazy. Everyone thinks I'm weird. And then the doctor is giving her, I don't know, 7 different diseases and conditions at this point. And I just said, you just have to stop listening to them because you don't have these things. You're gifted. Like, and she's like, yeah, but everyone's laughing at me and think I'm weird. I'm like, me too. And do you know what? Finally, my whole life, I've always moved around. I have lived everywhere because I never felt home anywhere.
Mm.
And I move and I move and I move. And then I've realized my home is not a location, my home is here. When I feel home, it doesn't matter where I am. And now I'm finding all these people. I'm just have goosebumps. Like you also, I'm just finding all these people that actually think like this and understand. And I tell her, I'm like, you're not alone. We're all weird. Like you're fine. But you just have to like find the rest of you, you know?
Yes. Um, my friend Grace had asked, and I think she removed the comment, but she wanted to know who the chiropractor that you had worked with, who did the energy, who that was, if you can share
Oh,
it.
in Las Vegas. His name is Dr. Beetle. Fantastic guy. Actually, I think he might have moved, but he used to operate outside of Torture Gym. It's like a gym and he has a office in there. He is amazing. Like he does muscle testing and like all this stuff. And yeah, great guy. I'm sure you can just Google him, Dr. Beetle.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Um, I think I just started month 3 of the food technology. And I've had those, similar experiences of like, I never used to be able to do that. All of a sudden I can do it. Like, I don't remember when I was younger if I could do it, like, but doing burpees, I could never, like, jump and bring my feet back into the same starting position. I had to go wider because
Mm-hmm.
I've messed my hips up like with various accidents when I was young. And all of a sudden I could do it. And even like, I was doing kind of higher chair level burpees for warm up. And then I did, lower ones and I could still do the same. And I was like, and then even like doing yoga when you have to like bring your leg up to do um like warrior poses. I could never, like, I always had to like stop and readjust myself. And like the last time I did that move, I could just bring my leg all the way up and I'm like, what?
It's
And
cool, right?
yeah, and then like, I've messed up my shoulders, lots of martial arts for many years. Um, and so like I'd have to, if I was trying to reach something, I'd have to like kind of knock it far enough and then kind of catch it. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I can reach up again.
I had the same with one of my shoulders, wouldn't do this before.
So it's like it's a really fascinating process, like seeing the body shift and realizing it's not consistent yet, but like having those days where like I don't hurt at all. And I've been in some kind of level of pain since probably my mid like early to mid 20s, and I'm 50 now, so like a long time. And it's also been interesting to experience, and like we were talking the other day, um I guess that process, it's almost like this a reversing and going back in time. And the body, like, I'd have an uptake in the pain for a few days, and then it'd be kind of like level out and there'd be a shift in my body. So it's like this happened to you when you were younger, and now
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have it again, but it's going to go in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
That's
fast.
basically, maybe I can just tell a little bit about like what it is we do. So we call it food technology. So what we do is take healing molecules out of food and extract them. So one example is actually I brought some so I can show.
Um,
The Ace Mannan. So the Ace Mannan comes from aloe vera plants. So we extract Ace Mannan and take away everything else because aloe in itself obviously has some toxicity and sugars and so on, which is kind of contradicting to healing, right? And it's the same. We have like beta lanes, which is highly anti-inflammatory. They come from beets, but sugar beets, they have a lot of sugar. So it's almost like you eat a beet, you get sugar, which increases inflammation, and then you get beta lanes, which reduces. Like, is it actually helping then? You don't really know. So, what the guy that basically discovered the whole process of doing this and patented it, his name is Dr. Santiago Rodriguez, and I actually had the honor of meeting him a couple of weeks ago in Cayman Islands. I've never been anything about like having idols and stuff. I was a little starstruck. I'm like, this is the coolest guy ever. He literally discovered this 30 years ago, and they ran the entire LD50 process to get it approved as a medication and got rejected because it has zero toxicity and zero side effects. And a medication can't be that. Like it has to have some level of toxicity or it isn't a medication, so they got rejected.
interesting.
Yes. If it has zero toxicity, it is not considered a medication. So they had to do it as a supplement. But we don't even like to call it a supplement because it doesn't compare to anything. So the technology is patented by him. Nobody else can have it. And the reason that he works, so this was actually two different companies first. Eastman and Bailings was two companies. And the Ace Manum was only charity organization. They donated this to children in orphanages around the world, and they called Manatech if somebody wants to look it up. But you can even see the map, see where the kids are and everything. So somehow I guess they got together at some business event and they just merged up, and they were like, "This is incredible! Like we can use all of these technologies, and we have more. We have like this is a YAM technology. They extract diostronin, which regulates your hormones." And then, I mean, there's tons and tons of products, like a focus product, which I'm drinking now, which has choline, which actually is used to reverse Alzheimer's, for example.
Oh,
Um, so it's great. And we have a brain, I don't know her exact title, but we have a woman that works with us now that works with the brain, and she has done actual research on what this does in the brain when you drink it. So if you are a regular person, no ADHD or anything, it activates your brain, you get more focused. If you have ADHD, it does the exact same thing to you too. Basically, it turns off your ADHD.
interesting.
And I have had ADHD my whole life. So what you're supposed to do, it's also like a way to do. So she has researched this. So when you mix this in, you're supposed to actually chug it down. You're
Oh,
not supposed to sip it
that's
because it activates the brain faster or better.
that's good to know.
Yes. So it's the same like another one. This one regulates, ashwagandha regulates your cortisol. So we have, like, for example, the secret pregnancy formula is beta lanes, fix, and immune imbalance. And we even had stories of infertile women getting pregnant
Wow.
because the question is, why are you infertile? So they told me since I was 18 years old that I'm infertile. But you know what it was actually? It was my hormones. My
Mhm.
hormones were not functioning the way they were supposed to, meaning if I ever were to get pregnant, I would have a miscarriage. But if you regulate your hormones, then the problem is gone. So the only reason you wouldn't get pregnant is if you actually took your stuff out. Okay, that's a different story. I don't know if we can fix that, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's possible too. So it's more about they just take out the good stuff in foods and enhance it. So, like one capsule of the beta lane is like somebody eating 500 beets, and you can just imagine you would probably die if you ate 500 sugar beets. You get some sort of sugar attack for sure. So we just take the good stuff out, and all it does is just turn on your body's immune system, reduce the inflammation, boost your stem cells. When you reduce inflammation and boost stem cells, you start to DH, we like to call it. So there, I know that Tony Robbins had a book about 2 years ago, and he said the next $1 trillion industry is going to be DHing. And that's everything that is going on in the world with all this stuff with the child sacrifice and they're drinking the child's blood and everything is about DHing. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take these children's blood so they can reverse their age. We don't have to do it like that. We can do it like this and leave the kids alone, you know?
Yes. And I happened to listen to a bunch of stuff from Bruce Lipton over the weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
they were discovering, like he and his team were discovering um, the stem cells like back in the 60s. It sounds like it's more of a recent thing, but they've
Mm-hmm.
known about it since then. And he was saying that um, our bodies are regenerating itself like every certain number of days and stuff. And how does
Mm-hmm.
it do it? Stem cells, which is why it would make sense that this stuff would work. Like if you're infusing and helping the body to work with its own stem cells, you know, it's going to recreate itself in its best form.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was saying, like, when it's a embryonic cell
Mm-hmm.
when the baby is growing, and then once it's born it turns into stem cells. So it's that process of growth and developing the baby. So it really makes sense why this technology actually works, because it's making the body or helping the body to um, heal and repair itself. And the other thing I was noticing the other day, like I too have had like the sugar cravings. And I've had way less. And even when I have had stuff, instead of going down this rabbit hole of like sugar,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I had it, that was great. And if I don't have it again for another week or 2 weeks, like it's not a, oh my God, like I need something.
I feel that it's so interesting because I also feel like I could, but I don't have to. So like now I don't I've actually gotten to the point where I bake everything myself. Because I don't even like I just look at things now. I'm like, I used to love that. So weird. Like I don't even get a feeling out of it. Could I? Yeah, I could eat it, but yeah, it's kind of like that. And I always used to be like a eater. Like I would live to eat.
Mm.
And now I'm more like I eat for fuel and I don't feel it. And if you asked me maybe even 7 years ago, I would tell you that this wasn't possible. I would tell you I will never stop eating donuts. So I understand when people say that. And people think, oh, you have never been there. Oh, yes, I have. Like I have videos back in the days, I would record myself and I wouldn't even record the worst. Like I would record myself eating. Like I would eat sometimes so much that I couldn't even remember what I ate. And I used to do food photography. So sometimes I would photograph, like big freaking cakes for like 20 people. And like I would just eat everything. And then I'm like getting dizzy and I'm like, how many cakes did I eat? No, it was like that. I'm like, did I have 40 slices and then 2 boxes of 50 cookies each? I don't even know. I'm like, should I eat more? It was, I
Well,
know.
and when you have like the hormonal imbalances and stuff,
Hmm.
like it really is like this other little thing that's like, I don't really want more. But next thing you know, it's like it's this
Also, parasites.
yeah.
This is something people don't talk about. There are parasites that makes you not actually be the boss of your brain. And I actually asked somebody the other day, and this is kind of crazy to me. And that's why I started my own biohacking community. And I want to talk about everything. I love our food technology, but I believe it's like you need to understand everything. You need to understand how to drink water properly. You need to understand rest and sleep. You need to understand meditation. You need to understand like self-love. Like you need to understand all the things because like technically if you took my food technology and you walk around and tell yourself every day you have cancer, like you're gonna get sick. Like your brain is the most powerful thing on the planet. So but what I do believe with our products is that it will help people get there faster because it cleanses you. it detoxes you and it just like clears things out. So now you have less sugar cravings, meaning you're gonna eat less of the bad stuff. So now suddenly you're gonna get more results. Now you're gonna motivate yourself a little bit more. So I think this is like a perfect way to start, even for people that, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. You know, I can't, I don't, I am, it's so hard to get started. And it's kind of like the little kick push that it takes. Then you're still gonna have to do work, of course. We always have to work. But yeah, parasite cleanses. I told a friend of mine the other day that has had a lot of health issues. I said, when was the last time you did a parasite cleanse? And he's like, what's that? Oh, Jesus. I'm thinking like people don't even know. So right now I live in this MMA gym. You know, it's a little germy and whatever, probably a bunch of mold and whatever. So I went to the herb store here. So I do like a mold and parasite cleanse. And then I just use like oregano and like garlic, black walnuts, and just, you know, herbs, just straight oils. And then I take it for a couple of days and it kind of like cleanses you. And honestly, I think I probably maybe I had some mold or something because I started breaking out in my face. So that's probably stuff coming out of me now.
Mm.
And I just think people should be doing this. Like, okay, where I live right now, probably would do it every month. But before that, I used to do coffee enemas. But you know, once every other month or something. Like you don't have to do it all the time. But and then people, oh my God, that's crazy. How can you put coffee in your butt? That's disgusting. I'm like, and you don't think parasites are disgusting? Like, just do it. You know, it's not that crazy. And like you just feel like refreshed and new with all these things when you start learning this and also finding like good food. Like I have friends who have farms. I will happily share the farm with anybody. I'm just careful with like promoting them online because I don't want them to get shut down. But you know, it and you only need to do your research one time. Once I have my meat place, I haven't bought meat this whole year because I bought a half a cow and from the sky, and now I'm about to run out. So then I just hit him up again. Like it's so little work for me.
Mm.
It's so simple. So this is what I want to help others with. I'm like, it's only work at first.
Yeah.
And then it's just gonna be easy, you know? Or you start eating better, or you start cooking something. Or like I'm at here now where I'm like I was used to be so comfortable with like I just have my water, right? I just had one filter on my tap, which is probably not enough. Okay, so now I have to start distilling the water. But it's like you it becomes a routine. Just make it a routine.
Yeah.
And then it's like you brush your teeth. Do you have to like force yourself every day to brush your teeth?
I have three filters. So I have a whole house filter, then
Mm-hmm.
I have the filter through my refrigerator, and then I have another filter that I filter my drinking water through. Because when I was
Mm-hmm.
sick, like um, I would taste like a metallic taste in my mouth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I am really hyper vigilant when it comes to water. Like the majority of the time I bring my own water when I go out to eat. Because most places don't have filtered.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I should do actually. I mean, I don't really go out and eat very much. What am I saying?
I don't
I'll
like
eat out like
when
once a
I
month,
do.
maybe.
I bring my own, unless I know like if I found if there are a few places that do filter their water, and I may not bring it there, but for the most part, I bring my own. Um, and I think the greatest thing about this is like it's that shift into feeling good again. Because I think so many people don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So, you were going through life, like life is an effort because we're in pain and we're in discomfort and, we don't feel good. I haven't hit the stage yet where I'm sleeping well, but some of that I blame on my kitty cat who likes to wake me up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I have two things you can try. Okay, so my way, I used to never sleep. So my way was I started the meditation of trying to get out of my body. So that's what I do. Every time I lay down in bed, I just leave. So I'm like the best way to describe it is like I'm right outside of my head. So I can't hear the thoughts in my head. I mean, that's how I did. That's how I do it. And now I can fall asleep on command. I can go to be
I
sleep right now.
sleep no problem.
Oh,
It's
stay asleep, you mean?
yes. Like what? Because like now sometimes I can wake up and like my I know I can fall back to sleep, but other times it's like my brain kicks on and I'm like, all right,
Hmm.
by the time it would shut down, it'd be time to get up. Um,
Yeah. You could try. We have for the food technology, we have a frequency spray. So we have three sprays.
hmm.
We have a they call it like a thermal spray, a sleep spray, and a relax spray. So all they do is extract frequency out of plants.
Oh, wow.
So like the relax spray is crazy. The first time I tried it, so it puts you in a meditative state. The first time I tried it, dude, I was like in meditation before I even hit my bed. It was crazy. But there's a sleep spray that is supposed to do the same and just like relax your brain.
Spray it on my kitty.
Yeah. Oh, you can. Oh, so they told me they're like, yeah, if you ever go somewhere and you meet an intense person, you can just spray them in the face. So yeah, you can probably try
Mm.
for sure. And also, somebody wants to read research on what we do. They've tried to sh take this book off of the market. So if somebody goes to manorelief.org and call them, you can get it because they bought up like thousands of them
Wow.
because they're trying to take them like off the market completely. Because it's like, oh, you only need to read like the first chapter. It will tell you everything about how and why this works.
Yeah. I also read somewhere that like something within broccoli is
Mhm.
also really good for clearing the body of inflammation. So,
There's a lot of things. I mean, even just looking at the sun is anti-inflammatory. Grounding is anti-inflammatory. And I believe that in the perfect world, we wouldn't need to do anything but just live and eat.
mm,
But that's not how the world looks.
yeah.
And everything is causing inflammation. Everything. I mean, like, how many people are not sitting in front of this all day long? That's causing some damage for sure. So, like, even these kind of things, like protection, I even have one on my phone too.
Stuff on all of my computers, my phone,
Yeah.
um my TV, my refrigerator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because and also all the younger people or people getting born into this, I mean, they don't even know anything else.
Hmm.
We're like old enough to have, I guess, in a way, like known. Because when I was a kid, I mean, so yeah, so I had some pain and allergies and stuff, but it wasn't like a lot of sickness and stuff back then. And now there's just every person is sick and everyone who has one condition. Nobody. Everyone has like 5 to 20 conditions.
Yeah. Well, even like the autoimmune stuff, um, which is inflammation based,
Hmm.
it's the body attacking itself. Um, but the other thing that like Bruce Lipton was saying, like from the epigenetics and the energetics of it all, is that,
Hmm.
you know, science or scientists, in the current regiment wants us to believe that, we're the victim of our genes.
Hmm.
You know, our genes get turned on and like you have no control over it. And he's saying, the opposite is actually true. Like you've got to look at the energetics, the thought patterns,
Hmm.
all these other things and start to work with the body so that because he said it's not really that it's like it's not like oh this gene gets turned on it's a message that comes through and you're basically a vibration for it for whatever that is and it opens up that's why like
Hmm.
we can be around sick people and if we're healthy and we're taking care of ourselves we won't get sick
Hmm.
because it's not a vibrational match.
I told people during I never got COVID and I never wore a mask. And
Yeah.
I even the person I dated back then had COVID and I was intimate with that person and I got nothing. And then people say, "Oh, you have that blood type that don't, asymptomatic." I'm A plus and that was the worst of all. That was the blood type that got the worst symptoms. So no, that's not true. I don't get sick ever.
Yeah.
Not from COVID, not from the cold, not from the flu, nothing. So
Yeah.
I think because here's the thing, the world they're always going to shoot out something new. We can't I'm not going to say we can't stop them. We can, but we still, what the best thing everyone can do is just to prepare yourself
Mhm.
because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Prepare yourself with anything. Make sure your health is well, your mind functions well, that you know what to do. Let's say your house burns down tomorrow. Have a plan.
Yeah.
Like now with all these hurricanes and stuff, and that's another story, but they're man-made hurricanes. That's what it is. And they're just doing damage. And I have a lot of friends who lost a lot of things right now. And I mean, like you can't just be helpless. You have to expect this that it can actually happen, you know? It can happen that there is no groceries tomorrow. It can happen that money doesn't exist tomorrow. All of these things can happen. And I also know so many people that so I used to do like commercials and videography for so long, and that was all I did, and I made a lot of money in that. I got really popular. I had one client that once ran an ad with my picture and they made $80,000 off of one picture and they shared the statistic numbers with me. So I used those to book my clients because now I can prove how much money I can make you. So I started charging so much money for my content and it was just exploding. And I made a shit ton of money on it. And then, and then I kind of got more and more into the health and biohacking because I was like, I want to do more of that. I want to split my time. I love doing content, but I want to split my time. And fast forward, when I started working with this, I was still having some clients, some pretty big contracts. And one day, because I was like, this is my purpose. This is what I'm meant to do. And I got a shipment to my house of a product for a client that I was supposed to photograph. And I just happened to look at the nutrition label. And I mean, I've shot for them before. So I know what's in their product, you know? And the only reason because I was actually in the videos myself. And the only reason I agreed to do that is because my friend muscle tested all the products on me and passed. I was like, this is huge because I'm against everything like this, sports supplements and everything. And I'm like, and even my friend was like, wow. And he doesn't like anything. He's like, I'm very impressed. This is clean stuff. Like, this is good. And then I turn the label and I look at it and I'm like, why is there red 40 in there?
Oh God, that's so
No, and that was just the first thing I saw. And then I started reading. I was like, holy shit. And I texted him. I said, hey, what happened? He's like, what? I was like, I'm looking at your label. Like, what am I looking at? I was like, what? This wasn't in there before. He's like, oh, but it's only a little bit. And like these things that with the colorful stuff, they're just selling much better. And I'm like,
because they're addictive.
no. And I was sitting there and I was like, I can't do this. I can't show my face next to this. I'm literally trying to save the world here. Like, there's no way I can do that. So I ended up telling him, I said, we need to talk. I don't think I can do this anymore. I said, I can't promote your content. I don't want to show my face in it, but I don't even know if I want to shoot it. Like, I don't know. Like, then I am helping you spread the word. I was like, nah. And he's like, no, but you have a contract. It says you have to do this and this. And I'm like, wait a second. So I pull up our text where I specifically tell him because so he had a line of products, right? And we muscle tested everything. And I said, all these products are great. And then there were a couple of like, because I'm against protein powder in general. And I said, I'm not really like super fond about protein powders, but I'll promote them as a cheat, like a cheat baking, like a healthy cheat baking. I'm like, that's fine because if somebody has one scoop of protein a week, that's fine to me. But I don't think you should do it every day though. No. So he was like, it says in your contract you have to promote anything I do. And I'm like,
Mm.
but that's not what we agreed on. I was like, he's like, read the contract. I'm like, oh, so you try to screw me over. He's like, and I have everything on recording. So I said, oh, so you actually purposely try to screw me over? Is that what you're saying? He's like, no, but it says in the contract. I was like, well, I have a separate text message and I screenshot it where I'm saying this is the only thing I will promote. And this, and also we were supposed to come up with a line together with even healthier products, right? And it never happened. And I'm like, these texts are also valid. And he was like, oh, if we go to court, like I sue you, I'm gonna, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, and these text messages would also work in court. Like, What are you talking about? And I said, you know what? I know what I'm doing and I know I'm saving people's lives. Like, I've saved people that were dying in cancer. I know what I'm doing here. And I'm like, I don't care if you sue me. So please be my guest. And then I have 45 minutes of this person screaming at me on a recording that hopefully I'll never use. But I was like, and I'm just sitting there listening. And I'm like, wow. And then he answered with, you do everything just for money. And I was like, I just cut off your contract.
Yeah.
How am I doing anything for money? I would like to say the opposite.
Yeah.
If I did something for money, because that was a big contract. And I was actually on a podcast yesterday and I said, I actually cut off a lot of clients. And my friend's like, so how much money did you cut out? I don't know, 10,000 a month that I just, for my heart, did not want to do anymore. And like, I just don't want to do it. So now I'll do content here and there, not for like a lot of different things. And then I also said, I was like, I would much rather shoot a commercial for an alcohol company because at least they're not going out in the world and telling people they're going to help make them healthy.
Yeah.
Because I think this, if I'm like, hey, I have alcohol, that's not very good for you, but if you have a drink, that's on you. Okay, cool. At least you're not lying to people, you know? Because I think that's all it's about. And I don't judge people. Like, I don't really drink very much, but I'll have a tequila once in a blue moon. Like, pick your poison again. Like you do, but then you do it and you know what you're doing. Yeah. So I was like, and then I'm talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, what do you do for work now? I haven't really seen you do a lot of photo shoots. I said, Mom, I manifest. And she's like, huh? I was like, yeah, I manifest. Okay. You know, like, and I was like, I wish people understood. It's not like money is not involved in what you do, but I don't work for money.
Yeah.
Like money comes with it, but a lot of people that we help with this, first of all, half of the company is all donations for children. And there's actually, I had a video, I have it on my Instagram. I had got to go to Mexico and meet the kids, and they're so freaking cute. Like there are orphanages all over the world, but we work with President Fox, so that's why we went there. And there was this little girl that doesn't have an arm.
Mm.
And yesterday, so we've been doing a fundraising for her. So next week she's gonna get an arm.
Oh, wow.
Super cool. So I
Yeah.
mean, like, I never want to have to. Sometimes you should help people without something in return. Like everybody, yes, you need to survive, but also I believe, and like I have this spiritual mentor, right? And she always says, but Max, why do you have to? So I said, like, okay, so let's say I want to buy a car, right? And then so people think, okay, I need to get this much money to buy a car. But why stop in the middle? Why don't you just manifest the car and
Right.
not the money to get the car? And it's like when you truly start doing that, like in the same week, I have a new car and a new apartment. So I got one of the nice apartments here inside the gym that probably a lot of people wanted that I have now, all in the same week, and the new car and everything. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I've been wanting to create art. Like I like doing kind of crazy stuff with models, but it's just not really been a focus for me because like we're trying to save the world here. So the other day I get a message. So I signed up. This is so funny. Like I signed up for Upwork. There's like a website for freelancers. So I created an account and this is so long ago, maybe like a year ago or something. And I created the account and literally never even used it. I was like, oh, what am I thinking? Like, what? I didn't know exactly what it was. And I was like, there's no way I'm sitting here and applying for jobs. Okay, never been on the page. So the other day, like last week, I get a notification in my email. You have a message on Upwork. I'm like, huh? Not even been logged in. Like, and there's a message saying, hi, I'm looking for a videographer, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, okay, tell me what it is. And here in Albuquerque.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. Um, I don't even know how she found me. Like how she even I don't even know. So I guess somehow she found my Instagram. I don't really know. She's like, "Are you in Albuquerque?" I'm like, "Yeah." Okay. And she sends me some inspiration. I'm like, "This is everything I never wanted to do." It's like just crazy comedy costume, like just fun. So now I just went, I'm actually gonna go to her right after we're talking here. And I'm like, I manifested it. And I mean, like, she's paying me for it, but it's not like I'm like, that is exactly what I wanted to do. But it's not like I'm just gonna, like, who would I even have done it with, you know? Like, I used to shoot myself, but I don't want to shoot myself like that because I want people to know me for what I say and not what I look like. So I kind of stopped the whole posting myself type of thing and just do like information and education. So it's like if you just know how to do it, like it will come to you. It will just come to you. You don't have to like search for it.
And that is that like the beautiful thing of, and it's that balanced feminine and masculine energy of knowing that like, you know, I'll take action when it's right, like when it's aligned, like when I feel like, oh, this is something I should like go do or look at or open. Like, you were saying, you opened up something and the podcast with Joel popped up and you're like, I need
Hmm.
to watch this. Like, following those kinds of intuitive hits and taking action and then
Hmm.
just like, all right, this is what I want and how's it going to come to me?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's
So it's like you need to work in life, but things are not supposed to be so complicated.
right.
If you struggle so hard, it's the same with like meeting people or let's say meeting your person or whatever it is, you know? It's not supposed to be that hard. You need to just let it happen. And I mean, I've definitely been like that in the past too, where you just like look for things so hard.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is wonderful. I will share some of your links, like your Instagram and other stuff, and I'll share both of our um, Alovia. Is it pronounced Alovia?
Alovea, we say, or a love a. So everything is based off of the word love,
Yeah.
basically.
So if anybody wants to try this stuff, like, I will testify for my own experience that it works. Um,
I want to come do an interview with you, maybe after like another month.
yeah. Well, I would love to come out to Albuquerque. I love New Mexico.
Yeah,
Like when I'm
please.
out west, like you said,
Hmm. Oh yeah, the
you're
nature, everything.
and
We
you're
went to the we went to the Crest the other day, so it's like a famous spot up on the mountain with a view, and we went at night, so it was freezing cold on my friend's motorcycle, and I'm sitting in the back, and it's cold, like very cold, and I just had this like spiritual like enlightenment happen. I was like. And we get up there and he's like this cold, trying to give me his jacket. I'm like, I'm not cold. He's like, you're not cold? I'm like, I can feel it. I'm like, I had like a spiritual experience while we're driving up here. I can't even explain it. But it's supposed there's like these spots here that is supposed to just be like a lot of energy.
yeah. The last time I was in Mexico, I was in Abiquiu, so like a little
Hmm.
bit further north, and they have the hot springs up there.
I haven't been there yet, but I want to go there.
It's
Hmm.
beautiful. Ojo Caliente. Is that what it is? Ojo. I don't. Anyway, it's beautiful up there, and like there's so many. Like I came home with like I think 100 pounds of crystals because like they were everywhere. They were like talking to me. My friends were laughing because I would just walk and stick things in my pocket.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I want to go. I have some crystals here, but I didn't pick them myself. Like I got them from my friend, but I want to go pick some.
so. Well, anyway, thank you so much. This was
Thank you.
wonderful, and hopefully again sometime next year, like especially once I hit that like 9 month mark of being on this stuff, and I can say, "Wow."
Mhm. Oh, but it's still improving. I torn my knee a week ago on wrestling. It took 7 days to heal. So I did all the biohacking, obviously. I fasted for 2 days, red light therapy, cryo, PMF vibration plate, and then I took 9 servings of immune and 4 servings of beta limitless. And boom, done.
Nice. So anyway, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. This is also going up on YouTube, so please like and subscribe to my page. Put any comments there, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Because I think this is like you said, we need to take control of our lives. We need to stop living in fear, and we need to stop living in pain. We need to do the
Mhm.
healing work, and take back control of our planet,
Yes.
create heaven on earth.
Yes. And we are.
Yes. And it starts with the children.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope
Thank
you have
you.
a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.